Breaking news out of New York City. Fernando Mendoza wins the 2025 Heisman Trophy and claims his spot as the best player in Indiana football history.
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, and it is the Locked On Hoosiers podcast. I'm your man, Jacob Goins. I appreciate you being here, making this your first listen or your first watch every single day. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day, and now the number one sports podcasting network in the world. So thank you so much for making that so. And thank you so much for being here on a Saturday on a bonus episode of Locked On Hoosiers, as Fernando Mendoza, the starting quarterback for Indiana football, has won the 2025 Heisman Trophy. And this was a no-brainer, right? We told you that. We knew that. Indiana people have been screaming that for weeks now, that Fernando Mendoza is the best player in college football. He has now brought home all the hardware to prove so, and I think has secured his spot as the greatest player in the history of Indiana football. What an exciting moment this is for just Indiana, for Fernando Mendoza, for the Mendoza family, for the Indiana fan base. I mean, everything you can imagine is happening right now for Indiana. And the fact that Fernando was able to be in New York and to claim this award and bring it home to Bloomington, right? The clips going around of him wanting to leave it here at IU, like, man, that's incredible. It doesn't get any better than Fernando. And, you know, we thought that Curtis Rourke could have been that last year. And I still believe that if he didn't get hurt last year, I think he was at least sitting in New York. He probably wasn't going to win it, but I think he at least would have gotten an invite, which would have been the third invitee, or I guess that would have been the second. Fernando would have been the third in Indiana football history. But man, Fernando just does stuff different, dude. He just wins. He makes plays. He's got several of those, quote, Heisman moments, and his stats speak for themselves. His swagger speaks for itself. The team's record speaks for itself. And it really is simple. He's the best player on the best team. Sounds like a Heisman Trophy winner to me, right? And so congratulations to him. And shout out all the other finalists as well. I think it was a stacked finalist room this year for the Heisman Trophy, but I mean, the answer was clear, and it was Fernando Mendoza. The betting odds told us that weeks ago. We've been saying it since about halfway through the season, it seemed like, and Heisman Mendoza has come to fruition. But you knew this was going to happen leading into tonight, right? Because he's already been winning the AP Player of the Year. He won the Maxwell Award, which is given out to the best player overall in college football. He won the Davey O'Brien Award, which is the best quarterback in college football. Like, he brought home all of those things. And so the fact that you cap it off with college football's most prestigious award, the Heisman Trophy, the first ever in the history of Indiana football, is remarkable, and super pumped for him, super pumped for IU. And this is a big moment for the history and the future of the Indiana football program. And I think we have to have some conversations about him being the greatest of all time at Indiana. How could he not be, right? And then the question becomes, all right, well, you won the Heisman and won all these individual awards. Can we go win a national title? We'll talk about that in just a couple of minutes. But you have to have that conversation. And look, Indiana's had some good ones, but you just finished the greatest regular season in the history of the program. You just won the first Big Ten championship game in the history of the program. You just brought home the first ever Heisman Trophy in the history of the program. I think you could have the conversation right now. But if he does end up going and talking about Fernando, of course, going on and winning the national championship as a team, then yeah, I think he's the greatest player that Indiana football's ever seen. He's about to be the number one overall pick in the NFL draft. I mean, it's insane to see, the season he had just as a football player, but for it to be happening at Indiana, I mean, I'm speaking to fans that know and have been there for so long and have suffered and been miserable and probably gave up years and years ago. this one is for you too. And I know Fernando Mendoza feels that way. He finished, right, or I guess his 2025 stats now going in to the Heisman Trophy ceremony: 2,900 yards, almost 3,000 yards on the season, 2,980. He had 33 touchdowns to just 6 interceptions, a near 72% completion percentage, also had 6 rushing touchdowns on the season. And again, several Heisman moments. The two that stand out to me are the touchdown pass to Elijah Surratt again in the game against Iowa to come back and win, and the pass to Omar Cooper in the back of the end zone against Penn State to help you win that game. Both of those being on the road, both of those keeping your perfect season alive. That's where I go. He has plenty more, but Fernando Mendoza was the obvious choice to win the Heisman Trophy, and I'm glad that he gets to bring the hardware back to Indiana. So we'll talk more about the greatest of all time. Plus, is the national championship next? You've done it all now. Now you get to prepare for the college football playoff. That's coming up on this bonus episode of Locked On Hoosiers. This bonus episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Rougier Ready. Let's talk about something most men don't bring up, but absolutely should. Stress from work, money, and life. It doesn't just switch off at night. And when it shows up at the worst possible time, Rougier Ready is designed to help you take back control. Rougier Ready is a next generation prescription treatment created to support both the brain and the body so you can feel present, confident, and ready whenever the moment matters. The science behind Rougier Ready stands out. 3 clinically proven ingredients in one formula designed for both mental and physical readiness. It's easy to understand why over 150,000 men have already made the switch. So if you're looking, or if you've been thinking about taking that next step, now is the time. Head to Rougier.com/lockedoncollege. That's RUGIET.com/lockedoncollege to get 15% off your order for a limited time. Rougier Ready. Feel present, feel confident, and you can feel ready. Today's bonus episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by FanDuel. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play, and suddenly everything feels a little bit different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets on the action as it unfolds, every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. You get that receiver that gets hot, a defense that tightens up, or maybe the momentum has shifted after a big turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment with all of that. Live spreads, money lines, player bets, you name it, they have got it. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. And finally, this bonus episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Aura Frames. The holidays are officially here, which means gift hunting season is on. And if you want to give something meaningful, personal, and guaranteed to get a reaction, Aura Frames is the gift that delivers every time. It's not just something you wrap, it's a way to share memories, because Aura isn't your average picture frame. You can preload the frame with photos before gifting it. So when they plug it in, the memories are already there. You don't have to worry about an app to set it up or set up headaches or anything like that. You just get the instant gratification, right? So anybody in your family, any of your friends, this is the go-to gift for a limited time. Save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames, named #1 by Wirecutter by using the promo code COLLEGE at checkout. That's auraframes.com, promo code COLLEGE. All right, this deal is exclusive to listeners, and frames sell out fast, so order yours now and get it in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. All right, welcome back into this bonus episode of Locked On Hoosiers, as Fernando Mendoza has won the 2025 Heisman Trophy, and we're just so proud of him, super excited, and another historical moment for the Indiana football program, of course, for him and his family as well. And I still believe, again, we were talking about the GOAT, right? The greatest of all time conversation. And I think he has secured that spot already in terms of Indiana football. I think he should be recognized as one of the better players we've seen come through the Big Ten in quite some time, one of the better quarterbacks we've seen come through in the Big Ten in quite some time. And I know the quarterback dominated award is the Heisman Trophy, and obviously there were several of them in New York for this, but I think he needs to be recognized and celebrated outside of Bloomington as well, because I do think he really is just that good. And the question then becomes, all right, is the national championship next? Can you cap it off? Can you get everything that you can imagine by winning the national championship? And by no means am I saying because he won the Heisman Trophy that gives him a little extra juice or he's a little bit more nervous to deliver, right? I'm not saying any of that. They're two separate entities here. They're two separate equations, but I would love to see Indiana do it, and I know you would too. And I think Fernando Mendoza gives you every opportunity to do that. And we had an episode the other day about Stephen Daly, your star defensive end, defensive lineman who is out for the season with the celebration injury. So that's unfortunate defensively, but man, offensively, Fernando he's a different animal. He's a different cat. And when he has the ability to step back and throw it to Elijah Surratt and Omar Cooper and EJ Williams and all these guys that he's relied on all season long, if that offensive line can get healthy enough and you find the right rotation to keep Fernando protected, and that's been a huge part of this too, right? I mentioned Curtis Rourke earlier in the show. He got injured last year, and that pretty much put Indiana to bed in the season because he was just not the same afterwards and things like that. Fernando Mendoza has been healthy this season, and knock on wood and do what you got to do to make sure that stays the case, because, yeah, I mean, Indiana is nowhere near where they are without him. They'd still be a good football team if he was an average quarterback, but the idea that you now have a Heisman winner at the quarterback spot gives you the best chance to win the national championship. A reminder that Indiana is going to play the winner of Alabama and Oklahoma. They play a week from tonight, I believe. And so you will be able to watch that. Am I right on that? I think it's the 19th. Is that right? Or the 19th or the 20th. So I think they play the Friday night game and then everybody else plays Saturday. I think that's what it is. So less than a week from when this episode posts, that Indiana will sit down and watch intently to prepare for either Alabama or Oklahoma. And that game, of course, played out in the Rose Bowl out in California. So lots of good things going on for Indiana, but Fernando Mendoza, Heisman Mendoza, caps it off, wins the Heisman Trophy. He absolutely deserved it. He absolutely earned it, and he got it in New York. Well, that's going to do it for this bonus episode of Locked On Hoosiers. Again, thank you so much for being here. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel on YouTube if you haven't already. If you're listening on audio, follow us on that audio podcasting platform so you never miss bonus episodes like this. You could go back and listen to previous episodes. You'll get notified every time that we have new episodes go up for you. Also, be sure to check out our new Everydayer Club. It's $5 a month or $50 for the year. You can get an ad-free version of the audio show every single day delivered directly to you. We'll have a private Discord that we're going to be in and dropping all sorts of notes and having fun conversations with, and a whole lot more. So you'll be able to check that out at the link in the description, or you can go to lockedonhoosiers.supercast.com. Check that out. I think it's awesome. It's absolutely worth it. We're going to have a ton of fun with that. So if you're looking for a little bit more, you can check that out with our Everydayer Club. All right, Hoosier fans, a live show of Locked On Hoosiers for basketball. If you're watching this the day and night that it comes out, we'll talk Indiana, Kentucky, and then we're back on Monday with some huge updates in terms of the transfer portal, Bryant Haynes being extended, and a whole lot more. So all of that on a normal episode on Monday of Locked On Hoosiers. So until then, Hoosier fans, stay safe, and we'll talk to you later.